Hello, so my channel is called A Gender Fluid Life. And that begs the question, perhaps, one I don't think I've actually tried to answer, either for myself, perhaps to some extent, but certainly not to folks who may be tuning in here, especially those who may be puzzled about what this gender fluidity and trans life is all about. What do I mean when I describe myself as being gender fluid? I can only offer my definition, as always. It may differ from others, but I think probably generally most people would think about the idea of being gender fluid, logically enough, suggests someone who identifies in different ways at different times, as it were, varying the degree of femininity and masculinity, if those are kind of the two binaries on a spectrum, and this idea of gender stretching between different expressions, and this idea of a spectrum of different levels of feminine and masculine expression that almost seems to merge in the middle. So someone that wants to express themselves in different ways at different times on that spectrum, and who, as a consequence, may flex the way they present in terms of their dress and their desire to be accepted in different ways, as a different gender, essentially, if you like, as male or female, in different circumstances and at different times. I have a very frequent desire to present as a female if I don't actually want to be female permanently or have particular associations with so-called feminine things. Indeed, there are quite a number of so-called feminine things that I really don't associate with or want to embrace. The idea of ultra femininity and all of the pink and fluffy stuff associated with that really has no appeal to me. And indeed, if I were to embrace it and to publicly present in embracing it, which I have actually done once or twice on this channel in some of my explorations in Transformation Tuesday, I have to really try everything. It hasn't or wouldn't feel comfortable. It just wouldn't feel me. It does, however, feel there's a sense of a real joy in being acknowledged in the gender that you want to present in. It's very edifying. It speaks directly to something deep within. It's not just perhaps praising your transformation and passing. It's really speaking to a person within. And if I don't give expression to my femme self, this can lead to intense frustration, and at times, indeed, it's led me into considerable depression, and that's the experience of a lot of trans people. This need, this urge to flex, to present as female, isn't constant for me. Most of the time, I'm quite content in the body I was assigned at birth and the gender I was raised as, in other words, as a male. And I'm unbothered by the clothes that I now wear or how I present and am seen by others. Rarely, but occasionally, I can even feel quite empowered in my male dress, perhaps if I'm dressing in a very formal way at a formal occasion, for example. That can feel quite good. So this need isn't constant, as I say, and I don't believe most of the drive to be a female is due to any disappointment I had with the role I was raised in, socialized to play, or any perception I had growing up or still have as potential attractions that may be there had I been raised as a girl or in a girl's body. In fact, at quite a young age, I was quite comfortable being a boy and seemingly was very much quite normal to observers, and certainly like playing with boys' toys and so on. My initial interest and desire for embodying some physical aspects and indeed attributes of a girl's body came when I was in early school and saw girls playing at the gym and noticed they had long legs and soft skin and were very good at climbing. And I thought I would like to be able to do that. And it was kind of a real feeling that I wanted, an urge that I wanted to embody what I was observing. But it was much later, really, when I came to adolescence, that the desire, regular desire to transform, to cross this divide between male and female became very active, and especially from puberty. And particularly, I guess, when hormones were really buzzing around in my late teens, this drive was particularly strong when I wanted to put this into practice, but never permanently or with any serious thought about transitioning. I've never craved a woman's biological functions. I can't know, of course, what that experience would be like. It's not something I can empathize with in any way, and it just hasn't featured in my desire to be presenting as a female. And I guess it's true that social fear, especially in my younger years, may have played a part in crushing my conscious awareness of any latent desire that might have been there to transition. But this urgency, if that was there, has never surfaced despite years of reflection and occasional counseling on this topic. There have been times when I have desperately wanted to be gone with my male organs, my male sex, but not that often and never permanently. I do value who I am and the body I have as a male and presenting as a male, much as I do when I present as Anya or Claire. I see dress and makeup and all of the accessories of femininity, some of which really have no appeal to me whatsoever, as a means to an end, rather than being interested in them per se. And indeed, I'm not particularly, I don't particularly enjoy some aspects of makeup, for example. It can feel a little strange, to say the least. It is a means to an end. It enables me to have a sense that I look the part, as it were, and therefore to have a self-awareness, even if it is imagined. And I can't possibly have an authentic body sense of being female, That's this kind of trick, a mental trick. And so that allows the feelings within, if you like, the feminine feelings within to be unlocked. It doesn't necessarily attach to any sexual excitement. In fact, that is fairly rarely the case, if ever, these days when I dress. Having said that, imagery that plays with the idea of transformation can be a very powerful sexual trigger for me. Sexually, I think if I had a female body, a trans woman's body, for example, I would prefer sex with a man. But I am effectively asexual or perhaps mildly bisexual. I can be attracted to both men and women, but rarely am sexually driven and not particularly interested in intimacy most of the time. Socially, as Anya or Claire, I would want to be treated as a woman by a man, and I do enjoy the physical touch of a man's hold. I've never felt any affinity with an androgynous archetype. It doesn't feel something that I associate with. And I don't think I'm intersex either, certainly not in any obvious way. But in truth, I've no idea what my actual, for example, chromosomal makeup is. And possibly I do have some secondary characteristics, such as some naturally hairless parts of the body, an extra fleshiness that may be found in some areas of the breast area, for example, that could be considered feminine. Whether I'm playing those up for my own satisfaction or not, I don't know, but I am aware of those. So Gender isn't about playing roles or biology for me, although, as I said earlier, seeing those girls on the climbing frames at school, there are some physical attributes that do feature in what's important to me and how I want to present. How I want to present is to be seen to have beauty in my eyes, to have, I guess, fairly delicate, not totally delicate, but feminine facial features. And the only time I've ever considered any kind of HRT or surgery was to enable a softening, a potential softening of facial features, although I didn't go ahead with that. The idea of softer skin, possibly some curves, not to mention a feeling that can come, again, an imagined one. Is one of these strange tricks of the mind, sort of awareness of something that isn't real, but I can sort of act out and feel as though it is real. The idea of having breasts and fake breasts, for example, can really help that, or putting on a bra. It is like putting on a pair of breasts. However, again, as I've said, I haven't always wanted to present as feminine. So how do I sum all this up? Gender then has come to mean more about expressing myself in ways that feel right at different times, and allowing these occasionally deep feelings, or indeed this different personality that's within me, to be acknowledged, liked, and seen. Whilst regular, it isn't constant, and I don't wish to give up my male identity, or opportunity, should I say, to present as male either. So I guess my labeling of myself as someone who is fluid isn't just playing with an imagined identity or something that's possibly convenient to try and explain away my tendency to want to cross-dress from time to time, but it accurately describes who I am.